Hi everyone and welcome back to Saturn Secrets. Today we're discussing the new moon in Libra happening on the 6th of October and what it means for your zodiac sign. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to show you like it and consider subscribing to the channel for regular astrology updates. If you want to book a reading with me, including 2022 readings, the link is in the description box. There are imposter channels going about. This is the only channel you can actually find me on, and that is the only link you can get me at. So, new moon in Libra, right in the middle of Mercury retrograde. We have a lot of energy in Libra in the sky, so the Libra themes are very clear. Matters to do with the law, matters to do with justice are coming up in the news. They're going to be a big talking point over the next month, and particularly around this new moon there could be some new points to navigate in terms of the law and in terms of justice, particularly as Pluto goes direct at the same day. I want to touch on Pluto direct firstly. Pluto rules power, and Pluto rules people at the top. Pluto also rules secrets. Pluto is going through Capricorn, which is to do with powerful people, it's to do with governments, it's to do with organization and the people at the top. So you can bet with this particular new moon that there may be some exposing of secrets, there may be some exposing of secrets of the powerful in particular, or where there are power dynamics affecting relationships of all kinds. It's interesting with this new moon and its connection to Pluto going direct. I think one of the things that may be a big theme over the next month, I've been thinking about this a lot, is the use of non-disclosure agreements and how awful they are in the most part. They were invented to keep company secrets, trade secrets, to stop them being linked and to stop unfair competition and that sort of thing, but they're actually now being abused by people with too much power and too much money in silencing people's voices. So I think that that could be a big theme coming up around this new moon, particularly as we progress into the month. But what it means for the collective in general, so aside from the news, the secrets of the powerful and all that stuff, that's kind of been a theme since Pluto was in Capricorn in 2008 anyway. Pluto has been completely changing the structures and hierarchies in society. For you personally, this can be how you feel about power and how you feel about control, and possibly also where you were missing a part in your life where you've been manipulated in some regard, where you feel like there's been unhealthy power balances, unhealthy power dynamics, that kind of thing. And also because it's in Capricorn, what your goals are, what your place in society actually is, and if you feel like you want to change that, or if you feel you have any control over that whatsoever. Some people believe we live in a meritocracy where you can work your way to the top, and some people believe it depends solely on who you know, what you're born into, that kind of thing. So really figuring out what it is that you believe in those types of instances. But because of its connection to this new moon in Libra, it does have a twist in our relationships. It may be a time when you realize that you're not being authentic in the types of relationships you pursue or the types of relationships you have at the moment. And it doesn't have to be love, it doesn't have to be marriage, it can be your best friend, it can also be your business relationships. I want to bet that this new moon is going to impact business relationships a lot more than people think. Because Mercury is retrograde, if you are looking to sign any contracts, just remember to double check them, read them again and again and again, and possibly keep the negotiation process until after the 18th if you can. It's not to say you can't actually do these things, but it is to say that with Mercury being retrograde in Libra, it could be that you miss key points, especially in contracts. As I say, Libra is the law. So with Pluto going direct in the same day and it ruling power, it's about taking back your power in certain situations as well, especially if you're making a new beginning for yourself. This new moon is at 13 degrees of Libra. And whenever I was researching 13 degrees of Libra, it was quite an interesting one because it's a lot to do with human experience in general, and also the experiences that we share. And how this can actually help you heal. So this new moon, obviously we have a stellium in Libra, and we also have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, and the North Node in Gemini. There's a lot of social activity happening in the sky and surrounding our relationships with others. And the theme with this particular degree is that you can actually heal yourself through bonding with others through shared experiences. And it's somewhat like the concept misery loves company, And it's not to say you have to be miserable to bond with other people, but it's that the shared human experience is what bonds you. And if you're hurting, you do find that having people around you that are experiencing a similar thing can be really healing, because you're going through it and not feeling as alone. And particularly with Pluto going direct, if you're dealing with something Plutonian, such as loss or destruction, or even transformation, you can find yourself aligning with people who are in a similar space at the same time. And this is what connects you. The human experience connects you. I know that with the Aquarian themes this year, that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in particular, the theme is kind of galactic. And I think a lot of people are maybe hoping, I certainly think a lot of people are more hopeful that they're not actually, part of the human experience. They'd rather be out in outer space. We can see a lot of billionaires doing that anyway, but this can be a more human connecting point. Libra's a very social sign. Libras are people who love to nurture their friendships and their social relationships. And so this can be a time when you really bond through shared experience, whatever that might be. 13 degrees of Libra is also the transformation of human style. 13 degrees is actually an Aries degree. So in a critical degree like this, because it's in a cardinal sign, this can be a point where you decide to change your style. You decide that you're evolving, especially with Pluto direct there. You may be deciding that you want to change how you look, how you present yourself, and how you decorate even. Your aesthetic is a very Libra theme. So don't be a hermit this Libra new moon. Share your experience with others. Be open to connecting through that human experience, because there's another point I really want to talk to before we get to the Mars conjunction, and that is the fact that the Sun, Moon and Mars are all opposing Chiron in Aries. This is very healing. This is very cathartic, because wounds that may present themselves around this new moon can be to do with Libra. They can be to do with the way that you love or your love. They can be to do with your self-worth. They can also be to your detriment in terms of people pleasing. Maybe you put other people's needs before your own. And because of its connection as well to Mars, there is a conjunction between the new moon and Mars, and then Mars is opposing Chiron. And when Mars opposes Chiron, you can bet people are touchy. These can be your wounds in terms of your courage, your bravery, where you take action. So there is a theme here as well surrounding healing your self-worth and how this can actually impact your relationships. Particularly in terms of how brave you feel in relationships or the pursuit of, but also how you view yourself, what you view your self-worth to be. Chiron is in Aries, and Aries rules Mars. Mars rules Aries, to put it better. So there is this theme coming up around this new moon that kind of reminds me of a full moon, where we have these opposing energies and you have to bring them into balance, your needs and somebody else's needs. And that brings me to my next point. It's conjunct Mars. So Mars is about putting energy into something. And, I was thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking about actual scales, because recently I realized it was Libra season. I've been kind of obsessed with scales. I've been measuring everything using kitchen scales. And I was thinking about this concept that in order to get things in balance, there can be this concept of, woman, I must start doing more of something. I balance it out by more. You actually balance it out either by putting more into the side that is out of balance up here, or you take out of the other one in order to get them on equally weighted. So for a lot of people, this is going to manifest differently. You're either going to be needing to do more of something, you're either going to be needing to invest more energy into something, perhaps bravery, perhaps courage, perhaps determination, or you're going to need to be taking weight away. You might need to take away being a people pleaser, putting other people's needs in front of your own, saying yes to everything. You might have to stop doing that, take that away. You might have to stop investing your time in a dynamic relationship, a business, whatever it is, that is not paying off for you, where it's not equally weighted. Because it's easier to take control of the energetic exchange you're giving or not giving than persuading others to do so. But with it conjunct Mars, it can give you that bravery and courage as well to start something new. Mars is a very revved up energy. It's a vroom vroom kind of energy with a new moon. And even though it's in Libra, I know everyone keeps saying Mars isn't comfortable in Libra, but The reason that it's not comfortable in Libra is because Mars wants to do its own thing and Libra wants to negotiate. Libra wants to figure out what everybody else is doing, and what the dynamic is, or maybe even potentially with Pluto here, you know, what the power dynamic is. So you have this courage and this bravery to start something new, but as I talked about with the scales, keep balance, you know, be patient with this. There is a Cazimi point coming a couple of days later. There's going to be the Sun, Mercury and Mars all conjunct in Libra at the midpoint of Mercury retrograde, and at that point there's a lot of clarity, there's a lot of understanding. So if you want to sign in the dotted line this new moon, you can wait, you really can wait. There's a lot of negotiating will probably have to go on with anything that you're dealing with. Because Mercury is retrograde in Libra as well, and this is ruling our relationships, there is this sense that perhaps there needs to be a negotiation in terms of whatever issues have been coming up for you in Mercury retrograde, if you've been experiencing issues at all. You know, a lot of people are not being impacted by this one in terms of their relationships. A lot of people are being impacted in terms of technology, or something more to do with travel, or something more to do with the finer details or the facts. But with this particular Mercury retrograde, it is giving you this revision on what it is that has been going on or what's been showing up for you, and this new moon can actually be a new beginning. It can be a new starting point for you, a new beginning in your relationships, a new beginning in your dynamics, and it can all come from this point of negotiation. You know, Mars is there and everyone perceives Mars as being this aggressive planet. In Libra it's not so much, but it is a time when you can realize, in terms of Mars qualities, bravery, bravado, courage, anger even, what is out of balance here, what is tipped up and what's tipped down, and what can you take away and what can you put in, and you're more likely to get the hang of it. I have to say, it's a very dynamic new moon. You're likely to get the hang of it. And in the background there are trines to Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. Wonderful time to commit to learning something new intellectually, especially if it's in the Aquarian field or even the Libra field. You know, Libra, we think of law, we think of justice, Aquarian pursuits, you could be science, activism, environmental or social work. So, you know, you can be finding that in the background, if you're committing to learning something new around this new moon, wonderful time to start studying for something, wonderful time to start studying for something in those fields in particular. So that's a beautiful thing going on in the background. Just remember that whatever it is that you're actively pursuing, you know, in terms of your goals, with your status, your reputation, with Pluto and Capricorn there, but also in terms of the Aquarian energies in the background, your connections to society, social justice, activism, all these different things, and even relationships, most importantly, can't forget. Remember that you deserve good things, and that you don't necessarily have to work as hard as you think you do when it comes to social relationships. You know, that you can see it with people. If they don't know their worth, they can invest a lot of time into relationships that reflects that back to them. It's almost like this big mirror on the wall just talking back, and that's a beautiful thing about Libra energy. But it can be people, I have to say, with Libra in their chart, can fall into that trap for a very long time before they realize it, and then what's reflected back to them is actually what they want. You know, with this being in a relationship sign, just bear in mind that if you're in an unhealthy dynamic or a relationship that's just simply not working, with Pluto being there, this might be a new beginning for you in terms of pursuing something new. It might give you the bravado and the courage to get away from a relationship that is unhealthy or controlling or not working. But it can also for sure bring a lot of relationships very close together, particularly through a shared human experience. So that's what I have for the Libra new moon. I'm going to do a tarot card for this new moon instead of an animal spirit card, because I just want to try something a little bit different. Even though I do tarot for all of the signs, but I would just like to do something, it's just an instinctive thing. I would like to do something that's not the animal spirit deck, because I've been using it a lot for a while, and I'd like to try something a little different in terms of the theme for this new moon. So let's have a little nosy and see what theme we can get for Libra. It's so much easier to converse with a camera whenever you're sitting on something comfy. I stand for most of my videos, and you wonder why I'm shifting my weight from foot to foot and sort of looking a bit wobbly. Balance, trying to find balance, trying to find equilibrium. So let's see what we have for this new moon in Libra. If you have any Libra placements in your chart, say in the comment section and say what it is meaning for you, what's going on with you. Or just let me know what's going on with you in general, to be honest. I'm curious. Okay. Beautiful. The Magician. That's a lovely energy. Very air sign based. It's funny, the Magician is associated astrologically with Mercury. And Mercury is retrograde. I feel like this new moon is maybe for a lot of people about taking back their magic, especially the water signs, especially Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, because this new moon is falling in water sign houses for you. This new moon is a chance to take back your magic. It's a chance to believe in alchemy through what it is that you possess with yourself. You know, alchemy is kind of it's a blend of energy. So maybe it's striking balance with the alchemical process, creating something by working with the Chiron and Aries, you know, healing your wounds surrounding the self, and then knowing what it is to connect with another. There's so much magic comes from collaboration. There's so much magic comes from connecting with somebody else. And yet there's so much focus on society, on this survival of the fittest and being independent and, you know, standing on your own 2 feet, that we forget that human beings are actually social creatures that need other people. And a lot of magic can come from other people. And yes, the Magician himself is a solitary creature, but he has many tools, and tools don't necessarily have to be physical things. You know, they can be self-mastery, they can be connection to somebody else. You know, think about how many magicians were at Hogwarts. It wasn't just Dumbledore. If it had just been Dumbledore, would it really have been Hogwarts? I don't know. This is about connecting to your own magic, connecting to your own ability to create something for yourself, and likely create something with another, likely create a new space for yourself. Because this is a new moon with connection to Mars, I feel like it is the Magician himself being able to create a new beginning for himself. Which is what new moons are, of course, but about being able to connect to your ability to start something new, having courage in something new. And the Magician wouldn't have alchemy if he didn't have courage in creating something new for himself. And with this new moon conjunct Mars, I think it is about having courage to start something new. Even if you're not entirely sure about the details, even if you're not entirely sure about how it will go, you don't have to do everything in one day. You just have to start. You just have to take one step at a time. So that is the new moon in Libra energy. I'm going to go into the individual zodiac signs. You can watch your sun, moon and rising. I suggest watching the rising because it will focus on the astrology and it applies more deeply, but you can watch your sun and moon as well, and anything else that you see fit. That's what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aries, welcome to your new moon forecast. So Aries, this new moon is happening for you in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships, meaning that there is a new beginning in your relationship dynamics. This can be a new chapter which is brought about by a change in relationship status. It can be a new phase within a relationship. It can even be a new relationship itself. And this can be a time when you just get more clear on what it is that you want to do going forward in your relationships. There can be a shift in terms of the dynamic. There could be a case where one of you needs to support the other. In some case, you might need to lean on one or the other. One of you may be taking on a supportive role. One of you might be taking on a more a direct role in the relationship, and there could be a lot of negotiation along this time as well if there have been issues or imbalances in the actual dynamic. This can be a time when you finally resolve something that has maybe been simmering or being repetitive or coming up again. This might just simply be a time when you decide you want to spend more time with a partner, or you decide you want to progress the relationship in some form as well. And if you are completely single but you are interested in somebody or dating somebody, this could be a time when you might have the courage to pursue it, thanks to Mars being there in the mix. Now, because of the oppositions to Chiron in your 1st house, you might be experiencing around this time an understanding of where you could feel quite insecure about yourself, and this could be something that's coming into a relationship dynamic. It doesn't have to be that you're insecure about yourself, but it can be that you have some insecurity about maybe your image or your personality, or something that could be simmering below the surface that comes to the fore here. And it can be a good thing, because it means that if you're open with your vulnerabilities about self, or you're open about your vulnerabilities within relationships, it can draw you closer together. Similarly, it can maybe make you realize that you're in an unhealthy bond, or maybe you don't feel supported about who you are and any insecurities that you have. But because of the oppositions to Chiron, I think it's fair to say that there could be something to do with you know, your wants and your needs, or you feeling insecure about your appearance or your own feelings, you know, good in your own skin, or maybe something you have issue-wise with yourself, that can actually be balanced out at this new moon by having a supportive dynamic, or exploring that within a dynamic. Now, Pluto is actually going direct in the same day, and Pluto's going direct in your career zone, so there might be some changes afoot. There might be some changes in what it is that you want to do. There might be some changes in terms of the power you have, or the power dynamics in your work life. Certainly with Pluto there, you could be open to some transformations, which could be a really interesting thing for you at this time, Aries. Especially if you feel a little bit like you would like some more status, or you would like a little bit more power in your career, or you would like to pursue something. Your tarot card for this new moon is the Three of Cups, which is a card about connections. It's about reunions. It's about celebrations. So make sure that you are connecting with your relationships around this time, Aries. This can be a beautiful new beginning in relationships. For some of you, the Three of Cups could signify an engagement. It could signify a marriage, which is 7th house activity. It could signify coming closer together, a new addition to your family, because it's a 3. It could be working on something with a partner, or creating something with a partnership as well. But there may actually be some reason for you to celebrate around this time, Aries, even if it is just getting to the root of an issue. So that's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Taurus, welcome to your new moon segment. This new moon for you is happening in your 6th house of work, your schedule, fitness and health. So this new moon for you, Taurus, is going to be a new chapter beginning in those areas. You could be starting a new job, you could be starting a new workout regimen, you could be starting a new way of eating or relating to your food, or a new work schedule could be started at this time, and you have the energy for it. You have the energy for this because Mars is conjunct this new moon, meaning that you're going to want to put your all into anything fitness related, health related, or work related, something that you care very deeply about, that you're very passionate about. Pluto is going to go direct in your 9th house on this day, meaning there could be some changes surrounding your education, there could be some changes surrounding your university or your course or your exams. There could be some transformation in terms of what you're studying. That could mean you have to adapt to something new in your profession, and it could be around this time as well you're changing your, if it's nothing to do with education, it can be your spiritual education, it can be your philosophy, what it is that you believe about life, what your higher purpose could possibly be, Taurus. Could it be in teaching? Could it be in spirituality? Could it be in simply organizing a new higher perspective for yourself? Maybe having a different vision in mind, something you want to shoot your arrows at, like a Sagittarius would. There is a lot of oppositions between your 6th house to your 12th house, so no matter how determined you are to look towards your work schedule and your health and fitness, remember that that needs to be balanced out by your mental health, your emotional health. And with Chiron around here, you could feel quite vulnerable, or you could feel quite aware of what's going on with you subconsciously. Around this new moon, it might be a good time to make sure that if you are creating a new schedule for yourself, or you're really pushing forward in work, remember that rest is productive. Remember that it's good to schedule some time alone in a day, and it's also good to do mental health work in a day as well. That can be something as simple as emotional freedom technique, EFT. It can be talking with a friend. It can be going for a walk and talking with a friend, or something, offloading a little bit of emotional stuff, especially if it is related to your work life. If you feel like you have been quite hurt by something or disappointed by something, it can be a good time to get that off your chest around this new moon, Taurus. But you're really going to be committing to some new habits. Just remember that they need to be balanced out with your emotional well-being too. 6 of Cups, beautiful. I love how it's the 6th house new moon and we get a 6 of Cups. Connecting with your emotional life, looking after yourself, your emotional health and your well-being, connecting with others, opening up to others, sharing with others, being at home with people that you love, people that support you, people that want to be there for you. And the 6 of Cups is such a lovely connection-based card. This could be a time when you really find that your work mates maybe that are coming in are like family to you, or you're maybe feeling a collective sharing at work, or people that you realize are very emotionally supportive about you. It can also be a time, because we're forming new habits, where you notice some patterns from childhood could be addressed with all the oppositions to your 12th house there. You might notice some inner child work as something you want to commit to. But that's what I have for you, Taurus. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Gemini, welcome to your new moon in Libra forecast. So Gemini, this is happening in your 5th house of love, romance, happiness, play, hobbies, creativity, fun. This is a lovely place to have a new moon, and because of its conjunction to Mars, you might be very brave in the pursuit of somebody new, of a new hobby, a new creative venture, a new way of having fun, a new for some of you, there could be a new, because it's a 5th house, there could be a new child on the way. Some of you could be expecting a baby, and this new moon could be a time to get set up for that. Or you could be actually having a new baby around this time, before the next new moon. You never know. But for a lot of you, it's obviously not that for all of you. But with this one, it could be a lot of love and a lot of happiness and a lot of joy, and how you're going to cultivate more of that in your life. Because of its oppositions to Chiron, I have to say, with Chiron going through your 11th house, you could have some wounds come up surrounding friendships, social circles, networks, teams. There could be some wounds coming up surrounding that, perhaps past betrayals of friends or people that you regarded as friends or you thought you were on the same page as socially. That could have negatively impacted you in a way that has affected how you love or you do romance. Maybe those were intertwined in a negative way. Maybe you had a friendship romance gone wrong or something like that. But with this particular new moon, it's ushering in this new energy of romance and play and creativity, and how you can just inject more happiness into your life in general, Gemini. We do have Pluto going direct in Capricorn, which for you is the 8th house, meaning that you could be undergoing some very interesting transformation psychologically at this time. You could be finding that you have some grief that you need to process. You could be finding that you have some changes that happened that maybe caught up with you after a period of being busy. You might be deciding to do some transformative therapy work. You could be interested in something occult related where you're really diving into that, or changing or transforming through that. But this new moon itself is kind of, I have to say, I feel like it's quite light for you. I know that Mercury is in retrograde, Mercury is your ruler, and going through your 5th house, you can really hear from a lot of past relationships. You can hear from people you used to date, you used to love, you used to play with, whatever that means for you. But it can be that around this time, maybe there is something there that has not been properly looked at, and maybe you're going to start a new romance with somebody new. Maybe you're going to start a new romance with somebody from the past that you didn't see that way, or maybe that it didn't have a chance or something like that. But this is a very romantic new moon for you. At the very least, it's going to be very creative. So if that's your profession, this is a wonderful new moon to indulge that. But it doesn't have to be your profession. Whatever makes you feel creative, whatever makes you feel, like an alchemist, that can really be something you can explore at this time. Okay, the 6 of Cups wants to pop out for you too. It popped out for Taurus. This is all about love and connection and reconnection, as I say, with Mercury retrograde, connecting to people from the past, connecting to people you used to love. It can also be soulmate card, meaning that you could connect to somebody new in a soulmate type level. This is a lovely card about connections and reminiscing and reconnecting and talking about the past in a way that feels nice and nostalgic, not in a way that feels icky or upsetting. Gemini, so that is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Cancer, welcome to your new moon in Libra segment. So Cancer, this new moon is happening in your sector of home, family, your emotional foundations, your roots, the past. It's a very sensitive and nurturing new moon for you, but because of its connection to Mars, you might find you have some emotional, abrupt moments. You might find that some emotions are coming to the surface from the past that you thought you dealt with and you haven't. Maybe you have some things come to the surface that really bother you, or maybe you're triggered by something that makes you feel a bit angry, but you realize it's actually something else with Mars in the mix there. This can actually be a new beginning that is positive though in terms of your home and your property. Perhaps you are, with Mars there, looking towards purchasing a home. You're looking towards renovating a home. For a lot of people, I think when Mars goes through the 4th house, I have to say it's a bit like I always envision someone with a sledgehammer just going at the walls. It kind of reminds me of Dwight in The Office when he goes into Pam and Jim's kitchen and he starts hacking and everything with a mallet. He just starts taking everything out to make it look different, to make it look better. This can be a lot what Mars going through the 4th house is for you. So you might be actually channeling some of your emotions into your home, changing it up. You might want to renovate. You might have that itch to renovate things at this time. It's all going to be opposing though Chiron in Aries. Cancer, and for you that is to do with your career, so you might notice some wounds in terms of the career come up, or maybe some wounds in terms of your status, or some fears, or some inadequacies. Maybe you don't feel like you're doing a good enough job. Maybe you have some fears surrounding how you're perceived, and this could be affecting your family dynamic, or you might feel like you want to take refuge in your home and family dynamic, or there could be some wounds come up for you surrounding the parents that you can bring into balance in some way, so that you can actually get these areas in sync. You know, with the 4th house and the 10th house, sometimes that can be to do with the mother and father. It can be to do with how you're parented and how maybe there's an imbalance here. Maybe you know, have an issue with, say, dad's voice, but you don't have an issue with your mother's voice, and then there's an imbalance over whose energy you were receiving and what maybe you've learned from that. But this can be a lot to do with your roots, and it can be very sensitive. So just take care of yourself around this new moon. Don't be surprised if you want to spend some more time at home, or you want to nurture, you want to look after your home. You want to make it look pretty. You want to make it look comfortable, and you want it to be a sanctuary around this time. Pluto is going direct in your partnership sector, which is bringing some changes there. So maybe it is a time when you're going to do some transformative work within a relationship. So we have the 5 of Wands, which is to do with competition, and it is to do with a little bit of playful banter, a little bit of playful competition. It could be a time when you're feeling like you maybe have some competitors. Now, I think this is related to Chiron in the 10th house. Maybe you feel like career-wise there's too much competition, but you have your own talents, you have your own skill set, they are important. Nobody else is you, so it's important to focus on being your own competition and not worrying about what anybody else is doing or what they're thinking of you. You have a very special skill set and unique gift set that you must focus on in order to enhance, and focusing on anybody else's is actually only going to make them stronger, because in your mind they're stronger. So watch out for that, Cancer. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Leo, welcome to your new moon in Libra segment. So Leo, this is happening in your 3rd house of your neighborhood, your learning, social skills, sales, media, and new information. You could be coming into some new information at this new moon, but conversations could get quite heated for you, Leo, because of the connection to Mars. However, this might actually make you a little bit more braver in what it is that you have to say. So there's a big focus around this new moon on communication in general. If you learn anything new or hear anything interesting around this new moon, do say so, because I feel like it could be one where you come into some new information that is important to you, especially if you are learning something or you're in education at the moment, or perhaps you're even thinking about what it is that you believe, you know, what your philosophy is, because it's opposing Chiron placements. Well, it's opposing one, but a lot of Libra placements in your 3rd are opposing Chiron in your 9th, meaning you could have some wounds surrounding your religion. You could have some wounds surrounding your philosophy, surrounding your education, what your education status is. And you might find that you can actually learn something new around this new moon, or go about getting a new skill set, or get the information you need in order to progress. But there could be some wounds holding you back, because maybe you have this belief that you're not smart, or maybe you have this belief that you can't learn something new, or you can't transition into something new skill-wise or fact-wise, you know. I think this new moon could give you a lot of facts, Leo. I think it could give you a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to digest. Pluto is going to go direct on the same day in your 6th house of work, suggesting that if you have unhealthy power dynamics, in terms of your work relationships, in terms of your health as well, in terms of your physical health and well-being, these are things you're going to want to make changes to. So let's get you a tarot card, Leo, and see what comes up for you around this time. 2 of Wands, new horizons. I like this. You've new things on the horizon. You're thinking about learning something new or trying something new. There's an adventurous point to this, and you're very focused on making a choice around this new moon too. Don't pressure yourself to make a set choice. Mercury's still in retrograde, and we have the Cazimi point coming up on the 9th. Also, we have Saturn and Jupiter going to go direct middle of the month as well. So just remember, you don't have to make a decision just yet. You can consider all your options, because more and more facts are going to come into you, Leo, as the month progresses. So that's what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Virgo, welcome to your new moon in Libra segment. Virgo, this is all about your money, your assets, your finances, and how to be financially secure. So for you around this new moon, there could be a new way of making money coming into play, because Mars is really motivating you to get that money. It's really motivating you to make more money, or to at least embrace a new beginning that is more financially secure for yourself, or more abundant for yourself, or maybe more competitive than what it is that you've been making. Your only competition in terms of your money with Mars there is yourself. You might be more determined to go for goals, and you might also know that you deserve better in some aspect of your life, Virgo, and it may be leading to frustrations. If you want to know what's holding you back, look to Chiron in the 8th house, because Chiron is opposing these energies. In the 8th house, it means that you might actually have a deep-seated psychological wound surrounding worth that you need to transform and overcome, and it could be related to your money. It could be that psychologically you maybe feel like you don't deserve it, or maybe psychologically you're scared of what success means for you. A lot more people than you think, especially now, have a fear of being seen. They have a fear of status. They have a fear of what that will mean, because they worry about, some people worry about the higher you go, the further you fall, especially in the age of the internet and things like that. So it might be around this time that you have, with this new moon, the ability to put into words what it is that actually is psychologically going on with you, and stopping your financial flow. It's funny that the 8th house is joint resources, but it's also psychology, and so when it opposes the 2nd, your money is linked to your psychological state. So if you can work on your psychological state and figure out what's going on there, your money can, make a new start here. This is a new beginning in terms of money, where you could actually have a lot more confidence as well. And be a lot more brave. And Pluto is going direct at the same time in your 5th house of love, happiness, romance. Maybe you could actually be someone, Virgo, who makes a lot of money in the arts or in creativity, or you might find that maybe as things start to change and transform in your love life or your creative life, you could start to find that you have more confidence. With Pluto going through your 5th house, it can really transform imbalances, power struggles going on within your sector of love, within your sector of creativity, where you feel like you can be creative and where it is that you feel like you can't. And I don't mean just sitting with a paintbrush and painting things. I mean in terms of creating your own life, creating your own destiny, but also what makes you happy. With Pluto going through your 5th house, maybe you don't quite know what makes you happy at the moment, because Pluto's been retrograde, and Pluto going direct can say, this makes me happy, and that happiness transforms you. Pluto going through the 5th house is all to do with how your happiness transforms you, or vice versa. Let's get you an oracle card, well, a tarot card, Virgo, for this new moon. The moon. Pretty appropriate, the moon. Let me see. Okay, so Pluto going through the 5th house, Pluto going direct in this day. There could be an illumination, there could be new information coming to you that you didn't know. Mercury is retrograde. Allow information surrounding money, allow information surrounding your assets and things like that start to come out. Maybe you realize, I have to say, Virgo, that you're not being paid enough in the position that you're in, or maybe you realize that you are simply in the wrong spot, or you want to be more confident, or you realize that you're not showing enough confidence, or maybe you realize that you're not being maybe you're not receiving the whole truth in these type of matters. Maybe it is that you don't have all the information just yet, because Mercury is retrograde. Give it time, it'll all come out. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it'll all come out. That's what I have for you, Virgo, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hello, Libra, star of the show. This is your new moon. It's happening in your 1st house of self, appearance, personality, your wants and needs, and being seen. This is all going to be opposing your 7th house, where you have Chiron going through, suggesting that you might have wounds surrounding partnership and contracts. You might have wounds where you have been shortchanged by another person, you've maybe been betrayed by another person, you've maybe felt like people have let you down in a moral standpoint, and this could be affecting the way that you see yourself. Now, you're asked at this time, Libra, to step into a new beginning in terms of being brave and being confident, being very sure of who you are and what you need. You're probably one of the few signs this Libra season that has to put themselves first more than anything else. This is a time, it's a season to be amicable, to be negotiable, that kind of thing. For you, I think it's maybe about retracting some people-pleasing energy and really focusing on what makes Libra happy, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel empowered, what makes you feel like yourself. A lot of you could be changing your hair, a lot of you could be getting a new wardrobe, new style. A lot of you could be doing things that are regarded somewhat as superficial, but if it's not harming anybody, why is it regarded as superficial and annoying if it makes you feel good? Just whatever it is makes you feel nice, whatever makes you feel good in your own skin, whatever it makes you feel most like yourself. This is an opportunity for you to step into a new period, a new chapter of being who you want to be. And you have to create who you want to be. You know, life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. I remember my mum used to have that on a fridge magnet. And it's really true. Life is about creating yourself. And that's not inauthentic, because when you're creating yourself and it is true to yourself, it'll ring true and you'll know. Pluto is going direct on this day in your 4th house of home, family, but also the past. So there's probably been, since 2008, a lot of transformation in your home and your family life. Maybe some power dynamics, maybe some issues surrounding control with a parent, maybe some issues surrounding control with a home or property or things like that. And for you, this is going to be undergoing some changes. And I think with this new moon, it's about figuring out what your power is here, what it is that makes you feel good, so that you can, you know, make changes that you need to change in those areas. In a way that suits you and is conducive to your well-being and how you feel about yourself. This is a new chapter for you entirely in your identity, Libra. So who do you want to be? Your oracle card is the 9 of Wands. Being the star in your own show. If you're close to giving up on something, don't. You're actually very close to the finish line. Mars conjunct this new moon is giving you the power, it's giving you the energy, it's giving you that last push and some kind of hurdle or obstacle in your life. Don't forget that Mercury, Pluto, Saturn and Jupiter are all going direct this month. So if something's not been getting off the ground for you, Libra, it will. This is a time to keep pushing, keep going. You're so close to the finish line with something. And don't be afraid of what other people think. So that's what I have for you, Libra, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Scorpio, welcome to your new moon in Libra video. So Scorpio, this new moon is happening in your 12th house of healing, solitude, dreams, your behind the scenes life, having faith, surrender and selflessness. This new moon is a chapter for you to open in these areas, perhaps a chapter of working with a therapist, working with a psychologist. Maybe you're taking a little trip by yourself around this time. Maybe you want to spend some time alone. There's likely, Scorpio, I have to say, with Mercury retrograde, there's some things you need to heal, and everybody does. Everybody has things in their past that they need to heal. And when this new moon in particular, this can be a time when you just simply say, I'd actually quite like to lean in and share my feelings with somebody. I'd actually quite like to express how I'm really feeling about something. I'd like to express how, you know, deep this thing goes, and it's about being open and vulnerable with somebody else. And with Mercury going retrograde through your 12th house as well, you're maybe having to go over something that bothered you that you didn't get to work through before. And this new moon can be a wonderful turning point for you, where you start to focus on achieving some healing in that area, where you start to work on something that has been upsetting you for a while. I don't think, with the planets being the way they are, if something has been going on for a long time that's been upsetting you, I don't think you'll be able to keep it in. And this is a beautiful new moon to commit to some sort of healing journey for your emotional and mental health. So it can be a good time to work with a therapist or a psychologist, especially if you've worked with them before. This can be a time for you to address some fears that are bubbling below the surface. And with its opposition to Chiron in your 6th house, these fears can be to do with your productivity. They can be to do with your work. Maybe you feel like you don't work hard enough when you actually work yourself into the ground. You could be a victim of hustle culture. Isn't it hustle culture? You could be a victim of a system work-wise that doesn't work for you. And I don't mean the word victim and that you're powerless, but you can feel with Chiron there, very wounded. And this Mars energy is pushing you to take back your control subconsciously. That's a really powerful thing, because when you start to work with your subconscious and overcome any fears or emotional blocks, you start to achieve so much more. You know, what you achieve in the 12th house is a beautiful, beautiful thing, because it can seep into all the other areas. It's such a nebulous sector. Other things happening for you that day: Pluto, your ruler, is going direct. So both your rulers are in the mix here in quite a strong way. And with Pluto going direct, you might find in your 3rd house of communication and skills, you finally have a way of transforming the way that you process information in a way that helps your mental health, in a way that helps you understand yourself. And maybe you're realizing with Pluto going direct, all I needed to do was talk about it. All I needed to do was share it. All I needed to do was say something, especially if you've been struggling with something. Scorpio, if you've been struggling with speaking on something that has been upsetting you, especially if you've been keeping it very private, as you often do. This could be a new moon where you really lean into that. Yes, 5 of Swords, where you're feeling very hurt, or where you're feeling very battle weary. You can really find with Mars going through the 5th house that you want to work on your past issues. You want to work on where you've been hurt, maybe your fear of being lied to, your fear of being betrayed, or your fear of because those fall into the 12th and 3rd house. The 3rd house is communication. And people can lie through communication, and the 12th house is your fears. So I think with a lot of you, with this 5 of Swords, which is the 5 of air, I think a lot of you may realize that where you have not forgiven others, you may be keeping yourself hostage in some way, shape or form. And I'm not telling you to forgive anybody, but with the white doves, it can be that, at least forgiving yourself for a mistake you made or something you did in the past might be the theme of this new moon for you. It's sort of about transcending yourself spiritually. And also just want to say that new moons in your 12th house are beautiful times to manifest, because there is this connection between you and the spirit world that is rare in some way, shape or form, Scorpio. So that's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your new moon in Libra video. So Sagittarius, this new moon is happening in your 11th house of wish fulfillment, aspirations, your social connections, your causes, your collaborations with others, your teamworks and your friendships. And for you, Sagittarius, this new moon itself could be one where you make a new friend, or you decide to commit to manifesting something for yourself. New moons in the 11th house I think are quite spectacular, because they are really beautiful points of manifestation. There are times to set your intentions and be really clear, because they can take off. Now with Mercury going retrograde though, you might be not entirely sure what it is that you want, but you want to go after it with Mars there. You know what you want to achieve, but you maybe don't know how you're going to work it or what the finer details are. With this new moon, you may find yourself making a new friend. You might have a new beginning in a social venture, in a networking venture. This is definitely a networking month for you, where you're really going to be busy in terms of connecting to other people. There is a wound with all of this opposing Chiron. There is this sense that perhaps you have a wound surrounding your creativity, surrounding the way that you perform, the way that you express yourself, and also what makes you happy. There could actually be some wounds there. Could also be wounds from childhood, because it's in the 5th house, that are in some way hindering or stopping you moving forward in your networking and your socializing and your friendships. Perhaps with this new moon, it's the way that you lean on other people, or you accept help from teams or networks or something like that, and you might have to transform this in some way, shape or form, Sagittarius. And so with Pluto going direct on the same day in your 2nd house, you want to transform what matters to you, what you value, what is important to you. You might be more clear of that now, and there might be a sense where you're maybe feeling restricted financially. Maybe you're feeling restricted, or not even restricted, but there could be a power imbalance with these particular areas of your chart, Sagittarius, and maybe you're going to start finding ways to be more social, finding different ways to have your financial needs met, or finding ways to progress with your aspirations through connecting to other people. So whatever it is in the 5th house that's holding you back, maybe it's the way that you perform, because 5th house is a performance house, your creativity, that could be holding you back in some way from networking or socializing, or connecting with other people. And it could also be financially, you're maybe feeling a little bit held back there, or you feel like you don't want to network to make more money. But newsflash, Sagittarius, a lot of people are doing that. So that's something to bear in mind around this time. I would say make a wish. Sagittarius, whatever it is, no matter how silly you think it is, no matter how frivolous you think it is, do make a wish around this time, because new moons in the 11th house are very potent magic energy. And with the card being the Magician, this is very potent magical energy. Your tarot card is the 4 of Cups. So for a lot of you, yes, there could be a fear of rejection going on here with Chiron in the 5th house. Maybe you're scared of putting yourself out there. Maybe you're scared of putting yourself on the internet. Maybe you're scared of networking because you don't want to be rejected. Or maybe you're scared of asking for something, asking for a raise, or asking for more attention, or asking for help. Even Sagittarius, do it. Don't be afraid of being rejected with this 4 of Cups. And if you are just feeling a little bit meh, if this 4 of Cups just makes you feel a bit nonchalant about life, create a vision board for yourself. Create an aesthetic. Start seeking inspiration from the things you would like. Sometimes knowing what you like is actually a harder question to answer than you realize. And so with this new moon, maybe get a vision board going, because it's likely to manifest quite quickly. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Capricorn, welcome to the new moon in Libra segment for you. So this new moon is happening in your sector of career, status, goals, reputation, spotlight, accomplishments and notoriety. So Mercury is retrograding through this area and you're rethinking all these things. You're rethinking your career, you're thinking your reputation, your place in society. What do you want your title to be? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be seen? What's your legacy? All of these things are kind of going through your mind and you've maybe been a bit foggy, a bit unsure. And with Mars conjunct this new moon, you're pretty certain you want to work towards a goal. And that's good for you. You love working towards a goal, especially if it's to do with career and your legacy. But if you're not entirely sure what it is, how do you work towards it? You just take smaller steps. You're going to climb the mountain regardless, and this new moon is a foundation for you to do so. Mars there gives you the energy to go after what it is that you want professionally, what it is that you want in terms of your title. But there is a sense of hurt or vulnerability for you going on with Chiron going through your 4th house. I have to say there could be hurts and wounds surrounding your home, your family, your situation with children, your situation with a parent, your situation with your home, your ancestry, even just a family. There's some family stuff going on for you Capricorn that could be impacting your career because the two could be out of balance. You know, Chiron energy in your 4th house is opposing this new moon in a way that is maybe quite emotionally eruptive for you because it's opposing Mars. So you might find emotions come up surrounding a family matter that is some way linked to your career or your past or your heritage or something like that. These two, in terms of your career, these are linked at the moment. So it's important to try and figure out what that is, because if you want to put more energy into your career, there might be some stuff to heal in terms of the home, the family, or the past even, Capricorn. Could be something as simple as your the old you versus the future you, who you want to be in the future and how that links to who you were in the past. Maybe you've separated too much from who you were in the past. Or maybe you've regrets about who you were in the past or something like this, and it could be hindering your career, have to say. But the good news is that Pluto goes direct in the same day in your 1st house. Pluto going through your 1st house, I have heard from so many of you in terms of clients who have Capricorn ascendant, who have Pluto conjunct their ascendant at the moment. And this can really change your appearance. It can change your personality. It can change what you want from yourself. It can change how you deal with your shadow self. How you perceive the world can change in a big way. What matters to you changes. A lot of you have a new identity of some kind in your life by losses with Pluto there, or with transformations physically and things like that. So really what I'm seeing for you Capricorn is that with Pluto going direct, you're going to be now more sure of where you hold yourself back, or where the old you needs to be released in a way that isn't, you know, you don't have to completely separate from the old you, but a shedding of skin is a shedding of skin. And I think for a lot of you, in terms of the next step for you, in terms of your next successes, it's going to involve quite a different version of yourself, and that can take a little bit of adapting for you Capricorn. But having confidence in pursuing what it is that you want is going to be something that works in your favor. Bear in mind, your new identity and your career might not be meshing so well at the moment, because they're two points that are going to clash. And if people are trying to control you in terms of your work too much, I don't think you're going to like it. I think you need a little bit more autonomy. And you can balance that out by maybe spending more time with yourself, or more, you know, devoting more energy or finances or something towards you and figuring out the next chapter in self. You know, invest in yourself with this new moon. So that is what I have for you Capricorn, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aquarius, welcome to your new moon in Libra segment. This new moon is happening for you in terms of your higher vision, adventure, higher learning, travel. All these new things are going to come into play for you Aquarius. As well as that, we have Pluto going direct in your 12th house. So Pluto going through your 12th house, that's doing a lot of change in terms of your emotional life, your subconscious, your psychology, you know, what lies beneath has been going through a lot of transformation. Some of you might have felt a little bit controlled by something internal, or, you know, you might have felt like there's just something you can't see that is almost like controlling you, like an energy working against you or something. It could also be a vice of some kind, an addiction that you're actually going to start working on overcoming by the end of the year with Pluto going direct. So Pluto going direct could give you this inspiration to cut off some negative habit, or, you know, something that doesn't work for you, or take your power back from, you know, whatever you feel it is that has maybe cursed you in some way, shape or form. With Pluto going through the 12th, there can be a misconception that this energy going on in your subconscious is a curse. It's not. You're actually just, aware of something subconsciously that's holding you back that you need to transform. This new moon for you is very focused on the higher self. So this is a new moon for you to put in the energy and the bravery to be the highest version of yourself, to learn something new, to study something philosophical, to study something new, even ninth house, maybe to go to university, maybe to change your degree, maybe to take a different course, maybe to travel alone. It could be something you're thinking of doing around this time, Aquarius, that could be very beneficial for you. What's holding you back with Chiron going through your third house? Your neighborhood could be holding you back. Your neighbors, the community that you grew up in, feeling like you don't have the right foundational level learning wise, your skill set, or maybe just communication issues, maybe a fear of speaking your truth, or maybe some information you think is true about yourself that may actually not be. With Chiron going through the third house, it can be wounds surrounding your neighborhood, siblings, as I say, the environment that you grew up in, but also what it is that you feel you can do on an intellectual level. And this new moon is a new beginning and a higher play and a higher self, higher education, higher learning, higher adventure. And you have to have the confidence to do that, because Mars is going to be conjunct this new moon, meaning that you need the confidence and the bravado to pursue these things in a way that works for you, in a way that actually benefits you in some capacity. So yeah, I think for you, Aquarius, this is going to be a really intellectually stimulating new moon. And I actually think for you it might be quite an easygoing one, to be perfectly honest. Even if Pluto is going direct in your 12th house, I think you might have some stuff to work through in terms of your subconscious, in terms of healing, some stuff you want to work on healing with Pluto now direct in this area, especially if you feel like something is controlling you from below. There's something in your subconscious calling the shots in a way that's detrimental to you, especially on an educational level. The Chariot, taking back your power. I love this. I think some of you are going to be taking a trip. I think some of you are going to be taking a road trip. I think some of you are going to travel. I think some of you are going to pursue a new venture. I think some of you are going to take back your power and feel really brave and feel like you're back in the driving seat. Maybe some of you are even purchasing a new car around this time, or making some changes to your car, Aquarius. But that is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Pisces, welcome to the new moon in Libra for your sign. Pisces, this is happening in your 8th house of the occult, intimacy, psychological breakthrough, relying on others and sharing. So Pisces, with Mercury retrograde through this sector, you might be encountering some old fears, some old patterns might be trying to pop up, might be trying to make themselves known. You might be hearing from some people from the past. You might be having some disturbing dreams, or you might be noticing some insecurities pop up that you thought you dealt with on a psychological level that are linked to ego. And this new moon is a chance for you to embark on a new beginning in terms of things like sharing with others. That can be sharing financially, but it can also be sharing emotionally. And there can be a new venture coming up here. Some of you could actually be starting a new a bank account towards saving for something. Some of you could be starting a new payment plan, linking up with a partner financially or something at this time. And some of you could be committing to your psychology, maybe even learning psychology, but committing to your own personal psychology and your psychological health. Now with Mars here as well, there might be some courage needed to begin this thing, because the 8th house requires a bit of courage. You might need some courage to push yourself financially. You might need some courage to push yourself to feel more open to transforming. This could also be a beautiful new beginning in your intimate sector, because Mars is a very intimate planet, really. It's to do with sexuality. So for a lot of you, there could be a new beginning going on in your emotional life that's actually going to be very empowering for you. Now, this is all going to be opposing Chiron in Aries, suggesting that if you're having any issues or wounds coming up at this time, they're linked to your self-confidence, your self-worth, and your money. You're addressing a lot of issues in your money. You're addressing your fears or vulnerabilities. This is a wonderful new moon to transform that and actually balance them out and figure out that just because maybe you've not been so good with money in the past, that you can't link with somebody else in a positive way financially. Or you might realize that just because you've had low self-confidence in the past doesn't mean you can't have a mutually beneficial relationship, especially if you've been used many times. So this is a wonderful new moon for you in terms of intimacy in particular, but also beginning a new chapter in terms of your psychology, and maybe do some work with Mars there on getting past the things that are maybe giving you fear or blocking you in some capacity from getting what it is that you want. Now, Pluto is going direct in your 11th house, meaning that there's going to be transformations towards your teams, your friendships, your networks. And with Pluto there, you may feel a little bit like you want to take back some control in these areas. You don't want to be a pushover, you don't want to be manipulated, and you don't want to be pushed around by other people. And this is going to be something that you realize how you need to do that, and you might find that you get the confidence to do that based on the people you are linked to intimately who can really back you up and support you. So let's do a tarot card. Oh, Four of Swords. Pisces, you might need some sleep. You might need some more sleep, some more rest. You might need to be very in touch with your dream state around this time. You might need to connect with your dreams. You might need to reflect on them. You might need to I just think you need to rest. I think you need to appreciate, in some cases, you might not be down, you might be out. I had to draw you another one because the Four of Swords was quite ambiguous there. It came out quite soon. And the Four of Wands. So a lot of you could be committing to something like a mortgage, or you could be starting a new payment plan for a mortgage, or investing in something family-wise with somebody else. You could be working on the home. You could be transforming the home at this time as well, Pisces. Remember that if you are doing that, it's also good to sleep. But if you have an intuitive nudge about the home, do follow that, because I think you guys might be onto something. So that's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon.